So just in case you have not already heard or someone hasn't already tried to remind you, this coming Sunday is when we gain that mysterious, elusive extra hour of sleep. Like, I don't never see that hour of sleep. You can tell me where, if you find it. Yeah, I'll be sure to let you know if I feel that I have actually benefited from an extra hour of sleep. Today, I kind of want to share a little bit of insight on what I call the fallback. So even if we don't see that extra hour of sleep, I'm going to try to take less than an hour to explain the whole concept of hashtag fallback. We're talking about fallback, right? So here's a few things to consider during this season. For those of you who remember this from elementary school, this was probably like an 80s thing. I can't remember. I don't know if they still teaching it, but we used to have to stop, look, and listen. Okay? So those are going to be our points. Here's the thing though. What had happened was, because I'm such a novice at this, I couldn't see what I was filming, and I had my hand covering up my lovely camera there for a third of what I was saying. So we gonna have this conversation again. These are kind of the imperfections that I want to share with you. And I know it's like, why would you tell somebody? You could just edit that. I understand that. But we live in a life that's all edited. It's all Photoshop. It's all cut and pasted. It's all pretty and stuff. My life, I don't know about y'all, but my life is not pretty. Okay? You know, aesthetically, there are some things that are a tad bit challenged, you know. I'm not afraid of that, because that's what makes me a real live, living, breathing human. But I'm here to tell you, this is part of the journey. Okay, let's make this quick, because I said I was going to make it under 10 minutes, and I'm going to. Let me start from the very beginning, which is a very good place to start. This is the very first Creatively Speaking. I was going to put the actual vlog out there, but I decided to start with fallback because this will kind of give you an idea of what you can expect. A little food for thought for tour. Okay. There are two areas that I want to deal with: communications and lifestyle. I'm going to start with lifestyle because you can't really communicate change that you're not living. I don't really think you can. It's hard to say one thing and your lifestyle reflects something else. Now, people do it all the time. But for those who have not perfected the art of creating one version of themselves and living a whole nother version of themselves, maybe this may be appealing to you. Here are some little tidbits from a lifestyle perspective. Stop signing up for every cause, everybody who needs something, everybody who wants something from you, everybody who's in your face about trying to create some kind of vibe with them and they're not producing any results. Stop wasting your time. Stop volunteering to waste your time with situations that are for naught, that they're not going to benefit either party, to be honest. Stop trying to save everybody. This might not be everybody, but I'm just saying, if you're one of those people, stop. Okay? There may be some things in your life that need to be saved or need to be rescued or can be worked on. So stop looking outward and start looking inward. So stop. Yeah, a lot of times we put extra pressure on ourselves we don't need to. So stop doing that. Fall back away from the pressure. Fall back from always obligating yourself or committing yourself and overcommitting yourself. Slow down. So stop. Just stop. Look. So, of all the things you volunteered for, let's take a look at them and let's reevaluate some of those commitments that you've made throughout the year. Should they be renewed? Are they at the end of their contract? Should we reevaluate whether or not this is purposeful, this is fruitful, this is good for both parties? Not just the party you're sewing into, but what did you get from it? some things are about reciprocity. You can't pour out and not get something back, whether it's from the source you poured into. It doesn't matter who it's from. But I'm saying you can't keep pouring yourself out there and then wondering why you're tired, or wondering why you got an attitude problem, wondering why you can't get along with yourself and nobody else. Because you're exhausted from all these causes, albeit they noble. That's wonderful and that's great. But sometimes you need to go back in and look at what you're doing and saying, you know something, I'm still not any further than I was this time last year. I have other goals, I have other aspirations. And when you have committed your time, like 90% of your time outside of yourself and your household or your home or your own personal well-being and self-care, you're going to have a problem. So fall back and look, okay? Listen to yourself. We listen to all the noise and pollution and stuff that's going on out here, and wondering why we have a hard time trying to get to figuring out who we are and where we want to be and who we want to be with and what we want to become, and all these questions. We've got so much residue from the external noise pollution that we never take time to listen to our heart, listen to our mind, making sure our heart, mind, body, and soul, spirit, whatever, is all on one accord. If you're not on one accord with how you think and how you feel, and you're not honest with yourself and authentic with yourself first, forget your relationships. That's from a lifestyle standpoint. Now, moving right along, communication. Now, since we have adopted, or if you choose to adopt any of that into the fallback for 2017, here's some ways where when in your relationships, when you're communicating, here's some things you can do. First thing you need to do, especially if someone's kind of coming to you with foolishness and you already know this person has a penchant for the petty, okay? And it's not really on your plate today. It's not on your to-do list to be petty. Pettiness takes you on these rabbit trails and down these rabbit holes that you thought you could maneuver, but then you start falling in them and it's like, oh gosh, I can't come out. So let's fall back from the petty a little bit. You know, it's fun sometimes, but I wouldn't live there. Okay, first thing in the fall back in communication, relax a minute. Take a minute to breathe. Take that 0.01 second to stop again so that you're not reacting. The thing here is we don't want to react. We want to respond. We're going to get to that one in a minute. Next thing you want to do is investigate and inspect. Think about who you're talking to. Think about the situation. What's the context of the situation? Is it important that we continue this series of engagement? Is this course of action, if I clap back, is that going to yield a great result? By the way, I suggest you save your clapbacks for like real tough times, because I mean it's getting hard out here. You might need to like save them, let them gain interest or something. I'm not saying a clapback ain't useful, but I'm just not for wasting no good clapbacks, if you know what I'm saying. So when someone tries to pull out the petty in you, you got to block it. So you don't want to get down on their level, and then you got to start over again. We ain't trying to do all that. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is re-evaluate. Because a lot of times we don't realize what we value in communication. We'll value a little conflict on purpose. Again, I wouldn't live there. Conflict is inevitable. You're going to run into it. It's part of life. That's fine. How you deal with it is a whole nother thing. People who feed off of conflict will never ever have a full stomach. But the next thing to consider is if they bait you every time, you're putting too much value on that type of interaction. So maybe you need to check yourself as well. Evaluate the importance of this conversation. Is it going to go anywhere? Do I have to facilitate a relationship with this person because we work together? Or is the relationship that important that I need to carry on the conversation in this manner? Inspect that. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Some of it is just plain stupid idiosyncratic stuff that it doesn't matter how well you articulate your point, that person is still going to walk away with their same perceptions, with their same biases, their same whatever. It doesn't matter. Do you value that kind of conversation? Are you getting profit from that? You're sowing the currency of your time and the currency of your energy and the currency of sometimes your intellect. Do you want to waste your currency on something that's not giving you an ROI or a return on that investment? At this point, you're probably at a good place. If you haven't already asked yourself, how do I want to respond? Do I even want to respond? Sometimes not replying is a response, because you just, that's still an equal and opposite reaction to what somebody's giving you. So you might want to ask yourself, should I just fall back and let them fall on their face? The last thing you can do is finally respond at this point. So let's make sure we keep our power, we keep our time, and keep our energy. Because the way I see it is, when you disrespect my time by wasting it, you're disrespecting me. Time is the most valuable commodity besides my energy and my health that I have. And I'm going to definitely be a good steward over it. And I would encourage you to do the same. So reevaluate, think, just take a moment. Save your time, save your ability, save your intellect, save those awesome clapbacks for when you really, really need them. And we'll talk about that on another day. This has been Creatively Speaking. Yours truly, signing off. Until next time, thank you. Let me know if you got anything of value out of what I just said.